Afternoon. All righty, we're going to go ahead and get started. And Gail and I both have scripts, so let's see if we can stick to our scripts. I'm not really good at that. So I just want to say good afternoon. Thank you all for coming and joining us for this joint County Commission Legislative Delegation presentation. Thank you also for being flexible enough for a reschedule of this. We do appreciate it. So again, I am County Mayor Maria Marino, and I'd like to welcome the legislative delegation to our joint workshop this afternoon. And I am going to have Senator Harrell do a welcome and an introduction of her delegation, and then I'll introduce the County Commission.
Thank you so very much, Chairwoman. I'm delighted to be here, and I am not normally the chair. I was chair last year, but unfortunately our chair is stuck on his way home from Tallahassee and is in the Atlanta airport. So lots of us have been there in the past. He may or may not make it. I'm sorry he is not with us. But with that, what I'd like to do is go ahead and start with our introductions. And what I'd ask is we'll go start over here. And if you would just come around, and if everybody would please introduce yourselves, say where you represent, because Palm Beach County is such a large county. So give us an idea of your area.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having us. I'm Meg Weinberger. I represent House District 94 for the Florida House.
And can you tell us what that incorporates?
Oh, sure. I'm so sorry. Newbie here. From, let's see, Southern Boulevard all the way to Jupiter Farms, and then west of the Turnpike all the way to the Glades.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you to our public servants. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gervonta Edmonds, and I proudly serve House District 88. It encompasses Lake Park, Riviera Beach, West Palm Beach, Mangonio Park, and a slither of Royal Palm Beach. My staff is also here today, my legislative assistant, Graham Wise, and my District 8, Latanya Cruz. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Okay, Senator Bourbon?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Oh, pardon me. I didn't.
Hi, I'm Ann Gerwig, and I represent House District 93. It is all of Wellington, a little bit of Green Acres, and a little bit of unincorporated Palm Beach County. A couple of Cobra communities are in my district, so I'm happy to be here. Thank you, Senator.
And do you have staff with you?
I did not bring my staff today. I just got in late last night, as you probably know.
Yes, we're all on that same schedule, which is crazy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Senator Lori Berman. I represent District 26. It is the cities of part of Boca, Delray, Boynton Beach, Village of Gulf, Highland Beach, Wellington, Belglade, and South Bay. And I have two staff members here with me today, Sophia Cabej and Brenda Bryant. Thank you.
I think I'm next. Yes. All righty. I am Senator Gail Harrell. I represent District 31, which is about a third of St. Lucie County, all of Martin County, and in Palm Beach County has the northern part all the way out to the lake. So it's kind of a stair step down. I go all the way down to PGA, then west to Military Trail, south down down to, I can't remember which road, but then I go west to the Turnpike and go down to Southern. So it is a stair step going down and incorporates the beautiful area, including all the way out to Pahokee. I'm delighted to be here.
Do you have any staff with you?
Oh, yes. I'm asking other people to do staff. Yes, I have two staff with me. If you have a project that is of the fiscal nature looking for some state money, then you need to talk to Carrie Lira. Where's Carrie? Raise your hand. And if it's a policy issue, then Karen Sweeney handles our policy issues. Karen, raise your hand. Thank you. All righty, we'll go over to Senator Polsky.
Hi, Tina Polsky, District 30. I only have a little bit of Palm Beach County left in my district. I have the southern part of Boca Raton, and then I have a big chunk of Northwest Broward. I have Shayna Cohen here with me today. There she is. And glad we could reschedule this. Thanks.
My name is Deborah Tendrich. I represent District 89, which actually covers Lake Worth, Lake Clark Shores, Palm Springs, Green Acres, Atlantis, West Palm, Town of Cloud Lake, Glen Ridge, and some of Lantana. So a big chunk of central Palm Beach County. I am here with my legislative aide, Joey Ippolite, and we're happy to serve and be here.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelly Skidmore. I represent District 92, which is unincorporated portions of Palm Beach County in Boca Raton, Delray Beach, and Boynton Beach. And here today with me is Dr. Gwen Gonzalez, our legislative aide.
Thank you. And I almost said Senator Powell, but. And I will turn it back to our mayor, and so you may introduce your folks.
I do have one business point for you all. I think Joe Casello, if you was going to take nominations for the delegation, needs to appoint a delegation member to the Criminal Justice Commission. It looks like he volunteered himself.
Yes, he would be very interested in serving, so I would ask the delegation, is there any other member of the delegation who would like to do that? See, this is the Criminal Justice Commission. It's the Palm Beach County Criminal Justice Commission. And we have a member of that from our delegation who sits on that. Is anyone like to serve? If not, then
Madam Chair?
with your yes.
Is that the commission that meets at 8 o'clock on Monday mornings
Yeah.
Yes.
in West Palm Beach? Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, no.
We are adjusting the schedule. It might be Mondays at noon now. So there you go.
So if you're still interested, Representative Skidmore, you can throw your name in the hat and we'll have a vote. That's okay. And I see Representative Caruso just arrived. Thank you for coming. Let's go ahead finish our the election right now of the Palm Beach County Criminal Justice Commission. All those in favor on the delegation, all those in favor of electing Representative Casello as the member for the delegation, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. He will be informed that if he gets here today, he will serve on the commission. Thank you. And since we're still in legislative business,
Please show up.
Representative Caruso, would you like to introduce yourself and your staff?
Oh,
And tell the commission your district area.
good afternoon, everybody. I'm State Representative Mike Caruso, House District 87, which runs, let's see, it starts in Manalapan on the south end, runs up the intercoastal in the ocean towards to Jupiter, then hangs a left turn and goes out to the turnpike. Excited to be here. None of my staff are here. They're up in Tallahassee working, so, but I'm excited to be here and welcome commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think now I will turn it back to the mayor, Marino.
Thank you. And now we'll give an opportunity to our county commissioners to introduce themselves. Commissioner Powell, why don't you go first? And actually, why don't you say what municipalities are in your district? And if your staff is here, please introduce them.
Thank you, Mayor Marino. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bobby Powell, Jr., County Commissioner for County Commission District 7. I represent parts of Palm Beach, parts of Lake Park, Riviera Beach, Mangonia Park, West Palm Beach, Town of Palm Beach, Lake Worth Beach, Lantana, Hypoluxo, Boynton Beach, and Delray Beach. I'm excited to announce that my staff was not in the building today, but they're back at the office working, consists of Teresa Lawrence, Malcolm Summons, and attorney Diane Andre. Remember this, a life of service is a life that counts.
Commissioner Sachs.
That is so cool, our newest commissioner. My name is Maria Sachs. I'm so proud to be here today to represent District 5. And assisting me is my Chief of Staff, Janet Arguelles, who's sitting here in the front, keeping an eye on me. My district is all county. I have no cities. So 218,000 people, and when they want to get a little service, they call me because there's no cities. So it's an exciting area to represent, and I'm very proud to have one of our newest commissioners here, Senator Powell, and I look forward to a really good, healthy discussion today. Thank you.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioner Woodward for District 4. And unlike Commissioner Sachs, I have 13 cities. Boca, Delray, Boynton, Highland, Ocean Ridge, Briny Breezes, Gulfstream, Manalapan, Lantana, South Palm Beach, Hypoluxo, Village of Gulf, and one tiny precinct in Palm Beach. So I'm southeast Palm Beach County. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joel Flores, one of the newer county commissioners. I represent District 3, and I represent 7 municipalities, Green Acres, Palm Springs, Lake Clark Shores, Lake Worth, Lake Cloud, Glen Ridge, and a very small part of West Palm Beach. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm Mayor Marino. I represent District 1, which has 9 municipalities. I always have to write them down because someone always gets forgotten. Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter Inlet Colony, Juneau, Jupiter, Palm Beach Shores, North Palm Beach, Riviera Beach in the fact that it's Singer Island, Palm Beach, the top half, and Tequesta. And with me today is Melissa Santoro and Alicia Sanders. Thank you for being here. And with that,
Mayor?
yes.
Sorry, I forgot to say I have Kayla West with me. You can give a wave. I have a staff member, sorry.
And I also forgot to mention Gabby Viteri from my team is here back there. So, hi, Gabby.
No problem. All right, so we're going to get started, and to make this afternoon be less presentation and more conversation, we have grouped the legislative priorities together into categories.
Mayor,
Yes?
while everybody's doing introductions, before we get into that, I also want to make sure I announce that Willie Miller Jr. and Devonique Taylor are here from State Senator Mac Bernard's office.
Thank you. Anybody else who hasn't been recognized, stand up and say your name and address? No, I'm only kidding. Okay.
Mayor,
right.
if I could add, I'm sorry, I did it again. I have a little tiny piece of Royal Palm Beach in my district, and I didn't want to leave them out. It is such a small little piece, but they are important to me, so apologies.
You're important to them.
Meg, who'd you leave out?
A little bit of Royal Palm.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't name all of them. I'm learning.
I live in Royal Palm.
I do have all of Royal Palm.
I want to get some Royal Palm. How do I do that?
I don't know. if we
Okay,
have enough-
speak now or forever hold your peace. We're good? All right. Back to the agenda. All right, each category, the county staff will briefly explain the county's legislative initiatives and goals, and then we'll have a conversation about that between the commissioners and the delegation members. If you wish to speak on a topic, turn your cards vertical. I'm sure everybody knows to do this. And we will recognize you. And for commissioners, please feel free to go into more detail about the needs for the legislative items if you choose. For members of the delegation, we hope you describe the atmosphere in Tallahassee for consideration of these items and perhaps advise how best the county can advance these issues. And we would also hope that delegation members will share their local priorities, not to mention, and how the county might help to advance those initiatives. We will spend roughly 10 minutes on each category and leave time at the end for the discussion of other issues. Maria, did you have something you wanted to add?
No.
Okay, good. All
I
righty.
do like to talk about Royal Palm Beach.
I do not
Really?
have Royal Palm Beach in my district, I'm just saying. Okay, so let's start with some brief county highlights from the 2024 session. And doing the presentations will be Assistant County Administrator Todd Von Laren, Intergovernmental Affairs Director Ed Chase, and Legislative Affairs Director Casey Denny.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here, Chair Harrell and the rest of the delegation. Thank you all for being here. We know that we had a few natural disasters in Tallahassee, snow days, special sessions, that led to us being here for a rescheduled meeting. So we're really excited that you're all able to make it here back home. I first wanted to say thank you to our county administrator, Ms. Virginia Baker, and her team in the county, our department directors, division directors, many of which are here today, who helped our legislative team in putting together our 2025 state legislative agenda, and we thank them for their leadership. I also want to thank Ron Rice and our Cooperative Extension Office for hosting us here today at the Ag Civic Center and also at the Mounts Botanical Garden. In the garden that's just behind us through these doors and those areas there, we have Ribbit the Exhibit going on in the garden. So anybody that would like to get some solace and some Zen moments after the meeting, please feel free to walk through the garden and see some of the really cool sculptures we have. It may be the only respite you have for the next 2.5 months. So we do have a few slides that we're going to go through, and obviously these are meant to elicit some conversation, but we wanted to start off with some important points from last session, just to say some thanks and to let you know some of the accomplishments with your help and your colleagues we were able to accomplish during the 2024 state legislative session. So Ed's going to start us off on that.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Ed Chase. I'm the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs for the county. So let's talk about some of our successes and some of your successes from last year on our State Attorney Addiction Recovery Task Force recommendations. We just can't thank enough kind of our stalwart leaders on this issue, and that's Representative Mike Caruso and Senator Gail Harrell. Once again, the two of you have joined forces and knocked this issue out of the park for us with Senate Bill 1180 and House Bill 165. We thank you for your leadership, and we hope that that leadership continues this year, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment or so. On PACE Consumer Protections and Home Rule Authority, look, our county commission has directed us to do everything we can to help those who enter into PACE agreements make sure that they are fully knowledgeable on the terms of those conditions on the receipt of those loans. So we want to thank the legislature for implementing those consumer protections. We're working on helping the Consumer Protection Board at the federal level implement many of those same protections at a nationwide level, as long as that program and that board lasts. Two public records exemptions that were passed. One was for foster and adoption information. So this created a public record exemption for the personal identifying information of a person who fosters, adopts, or otherwise gets an animal from a shelter operated by a humane society, county, or municipality. That is something that our Department of Public Safety has been working on for years, so thank you for your support in getting that passed finally. And another issue on the issues of public exemptions are for county attorneys. That exempts the personal identifying information and location information of county attorneys, as well as city attorneys and the spouses and children of such attorneys. That has been, for the past couple of years, that has been a priority of our county administrator, of our board, and particularly our county attorneys, who at times feel more than just a little bit threatened in their jobs. So we thank you for that. And now Commissioner, but then Senator Powell, we thank you for your leadership in shepherding that through the Senate for us.
Thanks, Ed. And we wanted to focus, too, on a couple of successes we had on the appropriations side and give you some updates about where we are on some of these projects that were funded in the 2024 legislative budget. Our Central Palm Beach County Historic Infrastructure, $1 million grant that we received through our Water Utilities Department. We're currently working on two different projects with this, one in Green Acres and another one in Westgate. These are both septic to sewer conversions that we're working on. And so we're in communications right now with FDOT about the parameters of and scope of those projects as we're getting ready to sign that funding agreement with them. So thank you very much to the delegation for your support of that. Our Lake Worth Lagoon initiative and seagrass restoration project, many thanks to State Representative Mike Caruso, then Senator Bobby Powell and others, Lori Berman, for working on some of our Lake Worth Lagoon initiative dollars. This was the second allocation from a phase 1 and then a phase 2 of our seagrass. We received $500,000 the year before, $270,000 this past year, and this is a 3-phase project that we're in right now. So we're in phase 1 of year 1, and then phase 2 is kicking in years 2 and 3 of that. Everything is on target and scheduled to move forward with that. Peanut Island Historic Restoration, $1 million that we received for that. Thank you again, Representative Caruso. I know that that was something important to you. Also, then Senator Powell, Commissioner Powell. on that. We've got 2 new members of our delegation that are working on that appropriation for us this year, Gail Harrell and Representative Snyder. But we are moving along with that particular project. We are in the design phase right now, the second phase of that. We got the design done for the docks that are right outside of the entranceway onto that particular segment of Peanut Island. And then we selected REG Architects, who is working on the design for the next phase as we actually get into the JFK bunker itself and to the Coast Guard facility. So all things are on track with that. Restore Reentry Program, I think this is like one of Senator Berman's babies. She has worked on this for the past 7-8 years with us. We've been successful in getting it every single year of some level. This is one where we work directly on contracts with Riviera Beach as well as the Lord's Place, and we're really excited about the $500,000 that's already being spent right now, and some of the results are really incredible. And then our West Palm Beach downtown signalization, we worked on this one, and the Board of County Commissioners in January just moved forward with the resolution with FDOT on helping with signalization in the downtown corridor along Okeechobee Boulevard that will help expedite some of the traffic into the downtown area. So thank you very much, and we have phase 2 that is in right now for the second year of that downtown signalization project in the amount of $3 million that is currently pending. Casey?
In the area of housing and economic development, we're going to focus on 2 pretty significant items up here. The first is the prohibition of mid-lease rent increases on taxpayer units. Every year, the Florida Housing Finance Corp releases their updated program income and rent limits for affordable housing units. Upon the release of these updated rent limits, we have heard from many Palm Beach County residents that their landlords will provide them notice that their rent is going to be increased somewhat substantially in a lot of cases, and sometimes only about a month or 2 into the lease that they entered into in the first place. The sudden changes in their rent can increase stability and financial strain on these individuals who rely on affordable housing programs to maintain stability and to remain housed. So Palm Beach County therefore supports legislation that would allow rent increases on affordable housing units that receive federal, state, or local incentives only when the tenant is renewing the rental agreement at the lease renewal period. We thank Senator Berman and Representative Tendrich for taking this on in Tallahassee. Oh, sorry, Senator Bernard, yes, thank you, too many B's up here. Representative Tendrich and Senator Bernard for filing this legislation this year, and we're looking forward to working on that with you. The next item, last session, we worked with several members of our legislative delegation, Senate President Albritton and others, to create in statute an offshoot of the Small County Outreach Program dedicated to fund farm-to-market roads. We were looking to seek recurring funding for that this year. However, recently, Senate President Albritton released a new program, which is a beefed-up version of the old program. It's called the Florida Arterial Road Modernization Program. And that bill allocates funding for roads that are used primarily as farm-to-market roads by redirecting $30 million on top of the $20 million that are already available to the State Transportation Trust Fund, specifically to go to these roads. And with this new program, I know many of you who are sitting here who were elected last year have heard a lot about County Road 880, a very bumpy road going out to the glades, but very critical to transporting agricultural products from the farms and onto your tables across the nation, not just here in Florida, but nationwide. And we're going to actually be able to, under this program, draw some dollars down from Florida Department of Transportation to reconstruct that road, as it's a very costly project that we're going to have to incur. We've already started on choosing a geotechnical firm to conduct the study to see just how much muck is underneath that road and how much it's going to cost over time. And this part of the Rural Renaissance Package is really going to help us with that. And as always, Palm Beach County supports full funding for Visit Florida, the state's tourism marketing agency. We will continue to advocate for that in Tallahassee.
If we could just pause there, Mayor. I know that on that particular slide on housing, I know Representative Tendrich had maybe some information she wanted to share on one of the pieces of legislation that she was working on.
For the housing? So we are, I'm excited to actually share that this has actually been pushed forward presented about 3 years in a row, and we finally are getting it agenda'd for the housing to help prevent these mid-lease rent increases. We have seen, I guess, that the majority of the individuals who these are affecting are seniors on a fixed income, and when these increases happen without proper time to adjust your budgets, you know, in a sense, it's almost like these individuals are put into a corner under duress when they're signing these leases because they have no other options of where to live. So when they're put back into a corner, they're forced. So this is a tenant protection bill that I'm looking forward to really working and making sure that we can protect these seniors, the veterans, those who have disabilities, who did meticulous amounts of paperwork just to get into these units, just to find out the next month their rent's going up and now they might have to ration their medications. So this is something that I'm very excited. We finally, after several years, were able to get it agenda'd, and we will be working through this, and hopefully it'll pass this year.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
On Health and Human Services, just a few issues. Again, we're supporting the State Attorney Addiction Recovery Task Force legislative program. And again, Representative Caruso, thank you for filing House Bill 405 on certified recovery residences. Senator Harrell, again, thank you for filing Senate Bill 464 on that same topic. We are looking forward to supporting Al Johnson and helping you get those proposals through the legislature once again. And if at any point, if you'd like to just chime in on any of these issues, this is why we're here, and we'd love to have you do it.
I guess just to point out to the public that, you know, I guess over the last 7 years, we've been working hard. In conjunction with cooperation with Senator Harrell and Dave Ehrenberg and Al Johnson, working hard on cleaning up the addiction industry, and that's what these bills are all part of. We get rid of the bad actors, and we certify the good actors, and as a result, those fighting addiction are really truly getting services to help them win the battle against addiction. So this is in a long line of bills to bring us to that fruition. Thank you.
And if I may make a comment also, and I want to thank Palm Beach County in particular and Dave Ehrenberg's leadership in the past, and of course our new state attorney who's continuing the amazing job Palm Beach County has done. Palm Beach County has been the leader across the state in developing policy. The original task force that was formed way back, and I believe I was partnering with Representative Hager back then, and when we started that task force and actually got some state funding for that, I want to say in 2004, 5, 6, in that range. And this county has been the leader in the state and in the country on how we address addiction, how we make sure that we have the services there, but we also have the entities who are providing those services, whether it's detox or rehab or sober homes, that they are legitimate entities who are doing what they are being paid either by the state or private insurance to do. And it's because of the leadership of Palm Beach County that we are where we are in the state of Florida.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. Another issue where Palm Beach County has been a leader is in the addressing of homelessness issues. Just on the House Bill 1365 on the overnight camping, you know, obviously as a county we're concerned about a couple of issues. Number one, you know, this is an issue that needs dollars, so we are always looking for more additional funding to help us solve this issue. Number two, we're concerned about the capability of being sued. You know, the law doesn't say that a person can't be unsheltered. It says that counties and municipalities can't allow a person to sleep on shelters, but it doesn't criminalize homelessness. I think Palm Beach County, for years, but even after this bill was passed, we have led the way in trying to address different ways to house our homeless folks. We have a number of homeless resource centers. an issue of having our homeless in our parks is something that we've addressed for quite a while. We've increased the number of park rangers that we have, not to enforce any laws because they really can't do that, but they are out to try to help those people who may be trying to stay there and help them find the resources that they need. We have those resources available here in Palm Beach County. We want to try to make sure that we can get them set up if that's what they want to do. Our Assistant County Administrator, Tammy Fields, has been a statewide leader on this issue. She has spoken to other counties. She's even led conferences with FAC on kind of instructing other counties how to go about this and treat this and do this the right way. So we are very proud of the resources that we have put in to take care of our homeless folks. We think we are doing it the right way, the way that the legislature has encouraged us to do that. But again, we want to make sure that this issue is being done in a responsible fashion. So we may need additional resources, and we do want to make sure that lawsuits are kept at a minimum, because that was going to keep us from going forward on that issue. On the issue of Palm Beach County Department of Health buildings, so our South County Administrative Complex is set to be, do construction, I think, in fiscal year 26. So we will be working with the Department of Health to try to locate a facility on that site, but that's something probably for next year, not this year. On the 45th Street site, work on the parking lot repainting and waterproofing is in the Department of Health legislative budget request. So we just want to make sure that we continue to have that funded during the legislative appropriation process.
And we'll pause there, Madam Mayor, just if there's any other comments or questions from the delegation or commissioners on any of our Health and Human Service items up there or any other related to HHS.
I don't see any cards up. Does anybody have any questions or anything they'd like to add? I guess not.
Okay. We'll move on to public safety and criminal justice. A few items that we wanted to share and say some thank yous. The first issue is one that's kind of come up through a number of our conversations with our victim advocates and our sexual assault counselors that we have within the county. We have several dozen of them that work with us. And just so you know, these individuals are people that are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that respond to individuals during some of the most vulnerable and most difficult periods of their lives. And sometimes it's 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes it's in the field at someone's home. Sometimes it's at a law enforcement setting in a police station or somewhere else. And so there are some very delicate communications that go on between our counselors and victims that they are supporting. And then sometimes, you know, there are some difficult situations involved with others in those different scenarios. And what we're trying to do is keep some of their identifying information, their phone numbers, their addresses, and the like, so that individuals that might be looking to call them or try to provide, you know, any kind of actions that we would deem as not good interactions between our counselors and potential perpetrators does not happen when they're in the field. So I want to thank Senator Polsky and Representative Casello for their work in filing this particular exemption for us, and just ask Senator Polsky if she had any comments or any other issues that she wanted to add to that.
I think you did a stellar job summarizing it.
Okay, thank you. And just, you know, these, a lot of these public record exemptions, these are standalone pieces of legislation. They must be filed standalone. They have to work their way through the legislative process that way. It's just part of kind of putting an additional light on those. And so it doesn't, you know, they're a little bit more difficult, I would say, to usher through the legislature. So thank you very much for the efforts, and we'll be working with you with our team to move that through. Another issue that we have worked with, in particular with Senator Berman, who's filed this a couple of years in a row, is on firearms in sensitive locations, particularly for us in areas where there's mental health and mental health counseling that's going on. You know, right now there are certain locations that are prohibited from being able to bring firearms throughout the state. It's a limited number, but particularly in areas where there are mental health counseling and treatment going on, that's included in Senate Bill 188, which is Senator Berman's piece of legislation. We thank her for filing that, and we appreciate your support, Senator Berman. I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to share on that.
Thank you. It's a very tough battle So if there's anything you can do to speak to legislators about that issue, it's a very hard bill to even get agendaed.
And then finally, what we wanted to point out, it's been quite a while in Palm Beach County since we have received additional judges in our county. 19 years, actually, since the last judges were added to the complement. And the Supreme Court released earlier this year, actually late last year, a certification of judicial need. And Palm Beach County was certified for 2 new circuit court judges and 2 new county court judges. The governor has included those recommended judges in his budget that he forwarded to the legislature. And so that is currently contained in that request that the governor's office has sent to the legislature. So we would just ask on behalf of court administration and Chief Judge Kelly, who's asked us to include this as part of our legislative program, that any type of support that you can provide for that appropriation request and making sure that the citizens of Palm Beach County will benefit from additional judicial resources, that we are able and we have that. So thank you very much to the governor for his support of that recommendation, and we'll keep you apprised of that as we move forward.
Todd, one other thing on the justice issue. I'm sorry that, for delegation members, I'm sorry that no one else jumped on the opportunity to serve on the Criminal Justice Commission, but I will direct you to the Honorable Kelly Skidmore, who is a past delegation appointee to the Criminal Justice Commission, which has apparently given her some expertise on criminal justice matters, as she was assigned to the Criminal Justice Subcommittee as well as the Justice Budget Subcommittee. So congratulations on your new justice experience, Representative Skidmore.
Before we move on, if I could just intervene for 1 second, and I see that Representative Casello has arrived, and he is the chair of our delegation. So at this point, I will turn over the chairmanship to you, Representative Casello, and you are now in charge
of your folks.
Thank you, Senator Harrell. Just got off the plane. So where are we?
Representative Casello, why don't you introduce yourself? Say what
Mayor. Thank you.
what cities are in your district,
Okay.
and if you have any staff here, because that's what the rest of your electeds did.
Thank you, Mayor. For those that don't know me, I'm Joe Casello, State Rep for District 90, and my district encompasses mainly Boynton Beach and Delray Beach, going out to Military, a little beyond short of the Turnpike. And I apologize for my tardiness, but you can blame Delta.
Thank you.
My staff, member there, Brian Bees, my district aide, so gracious to come to the airport and wait and pick me up, so I'm here. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Casello. And we'll move on to our local government and administration, and Casey will pick it up from there with some of the pending legislation that we're working on in that particular area.
Thanks, Todd. Everybody's favorite issue to kick off this section, impact mobility and multimodal fees. Last year, we ended at a good place with the League of Cities and others. We're just going to keep an eye out to monitor any legislation that's filed related to these fees as we continue to work through the framework that was laid out by the legislation last year. And then we will continue to oppose any bills that negatively impact our ability to charge or collect any of these fees if they do become bills that start moving this session. Another public records exemption issue that we'll be working on this year, County Administrator's Public Records Exemption, and thank you to Representative Girdwig for agreeing to file this important legislation. Unfortunately, we've seen harassment and threats of some of our county administrators, and in order to protect them and their families, we're going to ask that their personal information, like home addresses and phone numbers, be excluded from Florida's public records laws to ensure their safety. Representative Gerwig, would you like to say anything on that before we move on?
Well, I appreciate being offered this assignment. I know public records is a difficult one. We know I'm not shielded, but the idea behind this is the administrators are not the decision makers. which we know may or may not be true, but they basically are carrying out the will of the elected body. So they don't have the same kind of pressure that we have as the elected body. So why would they have this kind of information out there where they could be held accountable in a way that's inappropriate? So I'm happy to run that one. And it's a tough one because we know we like open records. Florida is huge about open records. But again, when you're an administrator and your body tells you in a majority vote to do something, you're required to do that policy. So it seems inappropriate to me to have the kind of harassment that the staff receives. So I'm happy to do it, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. The last issue that we'll touch on in local government and administration. Oh, we have somebody else? Go ahead.
Administrator Baker. Thank you, Mayor. I would like to thank you very much for taking that on. I know how difficult it is to even have a discussion on exemptions. However, I, along with my other 66 county administrators throughout the state, we do appreciate it. And I would like to thank all of you for your support in advance. Thank you.
All right, the last issue in this category, sovereign immunity caps. There is a bill filed in the House. I've not seen the Senate bill filed just yet. It may have happened yesterday when I was driving back from Tallahassee, but House Bill 301 has been filed in the Florida House. It increases the sovereign immunity caps to $1.1 million per claim and $3.2 million per incident. This issue has been around for quite a few years, and the bills never seem to make it across the finish line. We understand that it's been a while since those caps have been raised from $200,000 and $300,000 respectively. Last year, the Senate landed on a number somewhere between $400,000 per claim, $600,000 per incident. We can understand that, and we can see that that's reasonable, but the current numbers in the House legislation give us great concern, so we're going to continue to monitor that issue as it moves forward, see what the Senate is doing, and take it from there. But we do want you all to just be aware that this issue is likely to come across your desk at some point in time, and it does have a significant impact to our county and to the taxpayer dollars that we collect and are supposed to be good stewards of.
On some environment and natural resources issues, speaking of being good stewards, we feel that we are excellent stewards of state and federal dollars for beach management and beach renourishment projects. Currently, Palm Beach County has 15 projects that are requested. I think we have 6 that would be on the list at a fully funded $50 million statewide beach renourishment funding. So we ask you to consider that full funding that would address beach and inland management programs from Coral Cove, north of Jupiter, all the way down to Boca Raton. Floating structures are basically party barges that we see in Lake Boca and by Peanut Island. These are party barges that do not have any steering or propulsion. Usually they are moored haphazardly, if at all. The difficulty with those floating structures is they float. And if a storm comes or they become unmoored, they tend to crash into things like docks and bridges. During Hurricane Milton back in October, Blue Heron Bridge was closed when a floating structure slammed into it on the Singer Island side of the bridge. And that bridge stayed closed most of the day. So what we would be looking for, and we would encourage you to support any statutory language that could help us regulate nuisance floating structures, similar to how we can regulate derelict vessels that are left in our waterways. And finally, support for the C-51 reservoir. This is a huge item. $240 million to date has been given for that reservoir construction. Basically, it is there to increase water storage and to reduce the damaging flows to the Lake Worth Lagoon, and that would ultimately increase the freshwater flow to the Loxahatchee River estuary. So it would help Palm Beach County in a number of different ways, but in the ways that we are looking at it is sort of the end user of that water at the Lake Worth Lagoon and the Loxahatchee River. So we would encourage you to support continued funding for that C-51 reservoir project.
As is every year, we continue to support our partners in the education space here in Palm Beach County, including the legislative priorities and the appropriations priorities of the Palm Beach County School District, Florida Atlantic University, and Palm Beach State College. I know Florida Atlantic University was just up last week visiting you all in your offices and touting their new designation as an R1 school. So we're looking forward to working with all three of these entities this session to help advance their legislative goals.
Well, this is a slide we might spend a few minutes on. So it doesn't appear as though the Speaker or the Senate President have really come forth with a full list of their priorities, but these are a few issues that we would expect to have you consider during this course of this legislative session. We just wanted to touch on them briefly, but really ask you to give us your assessment of the temperature in Tallahassee as to how these might be addressed going forward over the next couple of months. Number one is an issue that our board members have received an awful lot of input about, and I'm sure over the course of the campaign trail and the past few months you have as well. This is the condominium assessment relief issue. We just encourage you to look for reasonable options to try to help our condo owners out. It might be an extension. Is it one option? I think one option that Miami-Dade has at least tried in the past was a program where they offered low interest loans to help people kind of address those condo fix-up issues. It seems that the House Speaker has clearly taken that off the issue going forward, but in Palm Beach County, in unincorporated Palm Beach County at least, we have about 1 in 5 of our condominiums that would fall under the milestone inspection program that have not yet either done the inspection or submitted that inspection to the county. So that's 90 out of 600. That is a concern, a huge concern to our Board of County Commissioners. They have directed staff to reach out to those in violation and inform them that they need to bring that up. But again, we'd like to be your partners in helping those associations go forward and try to get this taken care of.
Director, could I chime in?
You may.
As many of you all know, I've been pushing for reform in this area, relief actually, because I believe that the next wave of homeless people will be the fixed income elderly as a result of the legislation that was passed in December of 2022. Been working with the governor. He called for it in special session, and I've been communicating with the governor for probably almost a year, and he called for special session A, which just took place. As you mentioned, the Speaker, he's the one who ran the bill in December of 2022, and he's got ownership of that bill, and he has made it very clear they are not offering any relief. In fact, I understand there's a bill filed that may impute penalties on condominium boards for not complying with the law. So it's going the opposite way, sadly, but I'll continue to work with the governor to see what we can do.
If I could add to that, the Speaker did release the information about that and was very clear that the primary focus is the safety and the fact that these are privately owned units. He hasn't given any leeway in that regard, but they were strong about that these are privately owned units, and that safety is our biggest concern.
Commissioner Sachs.
Thank you. To all of our legislators, who are the lobbyists that lobby for our condominium associations and their residents?
Donna Berger.
I can answer.
Sure, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure that he necessarily takes a stance either way, but they represent the, Travis Moore is someone that we work with very closely, who represents the community associations, and I view him as more of a center of knowledge than kind of, advocating one way or the other, but he does work very closely with those who have been working on the bill like Jennifer Bradley and Jason Pizzo in the Senate. So he's someone that I turn to for expertise, and they'll put out, information papers for us after bills have passed and explain, kind of what happened. Like there was more recently, after the safety bill, there was also kind of a condo board reform bill, and
Sure.
he was very involved in that. And that also was very important.
There used to be some heavy hitters that would represent the condo associations because there are thousands of people and a lot of voters. And these condos, whether it's Naples with Pasadomo or some of the other large cities, and certainly here in South Florida. But, okay, I may just contact you later on and we'll see if we can't get some heavy hitters when it comes to not necessarily doing away with the safety, but at least giving them a little leeway with regard to getting loans to take care of the issues in the condominiums and or some time to get it done, especially here in South Florida would be really important. So
If I
thank
could
you for
jump
that.
in, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, and I too would like to team up with Senator Polsky. I think the Senate is looking at this very carefully, and I know I've had several conversations with Senator Bradley over it and also Senator Pizzo, and they are looking from the safety point of view in particular, but I think there's a lot of conversation going on. I think there will be some legislation coming out of the Senate. I don't know yet what that will be, but your input as a county commission to everyone, to the House and to the Senate, is very valuable. So if you have specific ideas and specific ways to do this, I don't know that there's going to be a loan fund from the state. I don't know that the state is willing or has the resources to do that, but I think there needs to be an effort made to perhaps have private sector dollars come into this.
And I don't see any reason why we can't do that, because what's going to happen, is that our condominiums are going to be bought and sold and demolished, and bigger units, bigger projects will go up, and that will leave the residents there basically without any place to go. So it is
Already happening.
And there's, I know there is, and a lot of our homeless are actually seniors.
Yeah.
But what we need to do is find, and you know more than anybody, Representative Crusoe, in terms of whether a bill comes out, either the Senate or the House, and he vetoes it, we're back at the starting point. But maybe we can find some solutions that will not require state funding for our.
No, the governor's not going to veto it. The governor would encourage a bill of this nature. That helps. It's the speaker that has laid down the law that we are not going there this year.
Commissioner
He may
Flores?
not be going here this year.
Commissioner
but
Skidmore.
We may.
Hopefully the Senate, as Senator Harrell says,
Good. Okay,
will be able to coerce the House to comply.
Okay, Commissioner Flores and then Representative Skidmore.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm seeing is that when they're doing these assessments, we are focused on the structural damages, which is the safety concern for most of our communities. And I think we all agree that that should be taken care of. But what we're seeing too is that these communities are adding additional stuff to not just the structural damage, but they're adding everything that they need to catch up to these assessments. So there's really two different tiers of assessments being, you got the structural damage, which is the study that the state requested, but these communities are also adding painting, sprinkler heads, whatever they're trying to catch up on. So if there's any way that we can break those out, I don't know how we do that, but that's affecting our people, where their HOA fees are now more than their actual mortgage if they still have a mortgage. And the other component of it is that it's the third item down here is insurance. These people, between insurance and these condo association fees, I think we're going to see a lot of people going into foreclosure because they're not going to be able to afford. And what we're facing as a county is more people living on the streets or of their cars, more resources than having to be taken from the county level to try to house these people. So it's an issue that's gonna affect us, and it's gonna affect us hard if we don't look for solutions at the state level.
Thank you. Representative Skidmore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would say in addition to Travis Moore, Mark Anderson, who represents community managers. I mean, if there's an industry that's going to be affected by this and you want to follow the money, I would say create a collaboration with the folks who are going to be hurt the most, and that is going to be community management companies who won't have any residents to pay the management fees as these buildings start to empty out. So they have a built-in incentive to find a solution, and that would be a good workshop, and that would be something I would recommend. Travis and Mark work together on a lot of issues, and I know that they would be willing to help.
Thank you. Representative Edmonds.
Yeah, I just want to talk about a quick Band-Aid we added for the past couple years, which was the My Safe Florida program. If you look at that data, Palm Beach County really took advantage of that program. I think we were ranked in the top 5 who received applications and granted funding. And so they're going to be doubling down on that particular program, and we just want to make sure Palm Beach County is at the top of that list.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward, and then Representative Polsky. Senator Polsky.
Thank you. Mayor, just one thing that I think is important, it came to our attention when it was brought to us how many of our buildings, I guess there's a phase 1, a phase 2, there's multiple processes, and it was brought to us in our discussion that there's a solid chance a lot of residents that live in these buildings are not aware that their building is not in compliance, because our communication is going through their board or their property manager or someone who's in charge, and the actual residents in these buildings may not know. So we've upped our communication with the residents to try to make sure that they know, short of shaming the building, which I'm not opposed to at this point, for the residents to know, but not without putting a sign in front, but some way to let them know that they may not be in compliance and that their building could be in trouble and they could be facing some of these penalties that are coming. That's something, I don't know that that's something you can be doing at a legislative level. It's something we're tackling locally, but I think a number of our cities, we're trying to be in touch with them too to make sure they're doing this, because it was concerning for us to know that there are people, we kind of look at these condo owners and think, oh, you guys have to know this, but they very well may not know that they're not in compliance. And I think we have 90 buildings right now with 0 compliance out of 600. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, it's been in a few conversations that any of these buildings that did have to have a significant assessment for safety reasons, allowing them more time to build up their reserves so they're not hit with both at the same time. So if there was a safety concern that hit them with a large amount of money, extending the amount of time for them to build up their reserves again, because that was something that was brought to us too, that if they had a big bill for this and they have to build reserves, people are just going to walk away. And we want them to get the building safe. Of course, we want the reserves, but if we want the building safe, first of all, and then give them more time. I don't know if that's a glitch that you could put in there, but it has been a lot of discussions that we had. So thank you.
Senator Polsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Flores brought up a really good point about kind of extra fees being tacked on. So one thing you could tell constituents when they call, or condo boards, or residents, is that they need to look at those inspection reports. It's very clearly laid out what is required for safety, like waterproofing, but not painting. Like there have been buildings that wanted to replace a pool deck and things like that. So it's up to the residents to call it out on their boards, because that is requiring so much more money than is required by the law. So it's really important that they follow that. In that bill I mentioned before about condo boards and kind of stepping up transparency and their requirements, I believe we gave more power to DBPR to monitor these boards, but I think it's going to take time for them to actually have the teeth to do it. But that is a resource for you as well, that they are supposed to be monitoring these boards if there's any questionable activity. I think an important thing to tell your constituents, just to be honest with them and to not have expectations, there will not be money coming to them. There won't be loans. The state government is not in the business of making loans. They are not in the business of collecting loans. It has been made very clear on both the Senate and the House side that these are private homes. They wouldn't give money to a single-family homeowner, just like they wouldn't to a condo owner. So they should not expect that. What could be expected, you know, they are working on the bills, you know, some of the things that you may have said, Commissioner Woodward, like things to help with the timeline. That's really, I think, all they can do, but while maintaining safety and not giving out money, but maybe giving some folks some extra time. But as has been mentioned, you know, there are folks who feel very strong about being sticklers for the safety, and there's a reason why. And there's been a lot of neglect over many, many years. And these fees have not been raised, but unfortunately, there's a perfect storm with this happening and the property insurance. I know we'll get to it, so I might as well just say my piece on property insurance. 3 years ago, we had the bill to end all bills and fix property insurance. Well, obviously, it has not worked. There are more companies coming in, but it hasn't lowered premiums. It's kind of confusing what's going on with Citizens because they did get a hike allowed. It wasn't as big as what they wanted, but then the governor's saying that some people's rates are dropping, and yet they received a hike for premiums. So I don't know where that's going to end up. But it seems as if, you know, premiums are not going down, and there are quite a few other pieces of legislation that have been offered over the last several years and continue to see if we can kind of fix it, but it requires a little more work from the insurance company side. I know Senator Gates has put together some good legislation that really, I think, makes it harder on the insurance companies, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we'll see if it gets heard. It's been a problem. You know, we kind of had this one bill, that's it, that'll fix it, and it hasn't. So we need to look at other avenues besides litigation as being the cause of the premiums going up, because there's been a lot less litigation now that they've kind of cut off some of those avenues. So there are opportunities to make some more inroads in property insurance, but I don't know if they're going to be taken.
Thank you. Representative Tendrich, and then Representative Gerwig.
Thank you. The condo crisis in my district in particular is from, I held a town hall and we had several hundred residents come and participate in it. And there was just a common consensus of fear about where they're going to go, especially since one of the fears is that some of them actually tried to sell their condos at a very low rate just to get out and to move. And the condos also blocked those sales because they did not want to have those units being sold at a very low rate. And so they were just trying to get out because they couldn't afford the assessments month to month, and they didn't want to get too far behind. It's also forcing individuals into reverse mortgages, which then they lose that property for generational wealth to pass on to their family. You know, one thing that I learned from these seniors is these are affecting the low, like 3 or 4 stories. They're not necessarily these huge sky-rise condos, and they just wanted a little grace. I will say that this is something that they have actually expressed to me, that they'll get in a bus and drive up to Tallahassee and fight. And, you know, I don't want to make the residents feel that we're not working for them. And I feel that we're just giving them dead end after dead end. So I'm very excited that this is, you know, actually being presented today, because I would love to see a solution for these residents, because these are seniors who are not able to find additional work. No, not many people are hiring 80-year-olds right now, and these individuals own their condos outright without a mortgage, and their fixed incomes or their pensions were set in a stable budget for them to actually sustain their households. And so this is something that I'm taking very seriously, and if any legislation could be passed for the next session, I'm more than happy to partner with anyone here to make it move.
Thank you. Representative Gerwig.
Actually, I'm going to ask Representative Casello. I know that last year they did pass a very small test group for condos similar to My Safe Florida Home, but it was such a small amount of money, and I don't know how we track that. So I kind of have that question for Representative Caruso and Representative Casello, because I think it's probably on your radar, but I don't think it was very much money.
It was 170,000 per 150 per condo.
It was
Not per unit, per building?
per
30 million.
No, not
per association.
Association.
Okay.
Per association. And if there was associations under a master association, then each one of those associations under it could get the 150,000. But
175.
it was
How
$30
fast
million,
did it go?
and it went in 2 days.
2 days, okay. See, that's what we're seeing, and,
It was
but
175, and it's 30 million. It was 175, it's 30 million. It went in 3 days. I believe the governor's budget that he just proposed increased that amount. So I think that you will probably see more coming this year under that program also. But it's minimal compared to the number of condominiums there are in the state.
thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. And going back to something that Commissioner Woodward said about outstanding in Palm Beach County, we as commissioners each got a list of those units within our district, and actually picked up the phone and called all of those units. And you know, it does take a lot of work, but some of them had actually sent their reports to DBPR and hadn't sent them to the county yet. So that's why some of them were delayed. But you know, most of them, everyone else that I called, except for one unit, which they're selling their whole unit to a developer, so they're not worried about fixing. But the other ones were on target. Notification is important for our taxpayers and our residents, and we need to make sure that they're getting the right notification. But following that, we need to make sure that whatever they are doing, the information does come back to us and not just DBPR. So there you go. What's next?
Commissioner
Commissioner
Flores.
Flores.
One last comment. I heard Representative
Caruso.
Caruso.
It's okay, my friend.
Oh my God, I almost said Casello. Representative Caruso mentioned that there could be possibly holding some of these officials at HOAs responsible if they're not good actors. But what happens when you have boards that say, you know what, I'm not going to be an officer? Because I've heard that response too in my district, where they're like, if they're going to do that, I'm out. I'm not doing this any longer. I don't get paid for this. So I think that we do want to prevent bad actors, but if you come down too heavy, you're not going to have people representing these HOAs, and then what happens? Who makes the decision? Are they going to hire a management company just to make all the decisions? That could be exactly, that's a slippery slope. I'm just bringing that up because I've heard those comments from HOA officials that say if they're going to come down this heavy against us, we're not taking on the responsibility.
Mayor? Commissioner Flores. I'm president of 2 associations, and one's a condo, one's a homeowner, and I'm sure this is repeated all out there. I can't get anyone to be a board member because of what's going on in the last couple of years. And there I'm stuck as the president of these associations, even though I don't have any time to do this anymore. And but nobody else will take up the control of it. So it is going to be a problem. I think when these penalties and all come out, if that passes, I'll be stepping down too, because I don't want to be subject to it. The job pays so well.
Yeah, right.
I think the most important thing for us would be to get time extensions for the safety. You can't, we don't know the reasons why folks didn't do the work along the way. As homeowners, we do our work. I'm a homeowner, I do my work along the way. I don't know why the condos did not. But I want to say carefully that it would be tough for government to bail them out, to take taxpayer dollars for taxpayers that did maintain their units and then give them to associations that haven't. I know that's a very slippery slope also. So if we can do something about the time of which they have to make these safety inspections and repairs, that would be the best case scenario we could ask for. So, alrighty. Oh, Senator Harold.
Yes, I would also like to remind everyone that the reason we are in this situation is because many of these condos have not been maintained. And we had one major problem in Fort Pierce on the beach where there's a significant amount of damage and people were evacuated for very specific safety concerns that it could fall down any day. We also in North Palm, no, I guess it was in Jupiter or Juneau, we've had several condos that have been closed. So this is real. This is not imaginary. This is real. There are significant safety concerns. And, you know, as I know our Senate is committed to finding a way to make things work, but we have got to be realistic in what we are expecting, and we have got to make the necessary repairs for people's safety. So tough situation. As I say, my door is always open for new ideas, and I am not the least bit afraid to be very vocal on them. So keep me informed. New ideas.
Commissioner Sachs and then then Representative Casello.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I really appreciate Senator Harrell's statement on this issue because it is very important. But let's not forget that every building in this state, and we have more condominiums in this state than any other state in the country, was built probably with the approval of local governments on zoning and issues such as that. So government has a role to play in maybe not enforcing zoning laws and safety regulations as they should have. However, you look at that with the light that our climate has also changed. Condominiums that were built on the beach 10, 15, 20 years ago, and we have a lot here in South Palm Beach County, it was a different level of ocean, our sea levels have changed. And also our engineering has changed. So yes, government has a role to play, darn it. And because government had a role to play in making and ensuring compliance with zoning laws when it gave developers the right to build so close to the beach or on the beach in light of changes in our climate. So I think that government has to be a partner in this, whether it's an alt-right loan that will be repaid over time. But, and I appreciate so much your leadership in this because you've always been, you represent a beautiful area of this county. And I think that we need to step up. This is a big issue. This is as big as insurance. And I think Florida needs to lead the country in ensuring safety, but without hurting the people who actually live in these buildings. So thank you, Senator.
Representative Casello.
Thank you, Mayor. To your point, why having the repairs done in the past, the repairs not done, is because the fees are kept artificially low. When somebody's going to buy a condo, a house, what's the one question they ask first? How much is the HOA fees? So makes your property more attractive the lower the fee. And that's basically it. That's why the money's not there now to get repairs. They just had enough money to cosmetically keep the units up, street appearance, but for major repairs, the money was never there because the fees were kept artificially low.
You are actually cementing my point.
Correct.
Thank you. All right.
Okay, I think we've slid into property insurance, so let's kind of finish that up with this. Commissioner Flores, you made an excellent point on the condo assessment issue. As those milestone inspections come in, it is highly likely that insurance companies are going to use those inspections to either non-renew or drastically increase those rates. So that's another financial issue that our condo owners and our condo associations are going to see. So thank you, delegation members, for kind of giving a temperature on property insurance. We'll go back to property taxes, that issue just for a moment. I'll turn that over to Todd for a brief explanation.
So we've heard over the last couple of weeks some conversations from the governor and a number of different press conferences about the elimination of property taxes. In the Senate, Senate Bill 852 was filed this week by Senator Martin, and specifically, he's asking for a study to be conducted by the Department of Economic and Demographic Research to look at both reductions and replacement of property tax revenues through budget reductions, sales-based consumption taxes, and locally determined consumption taxes as authorized by the legislature. And, just from a taxing perspective, the federal government particularly relies on income tax dollars. At the state level, primarily sales tax dollars, and at the local level, property taxes. But I would also remind senators and representatives that the required local effort for education is something that the legislature requires of our school districts to levy in property taxes in order to be eligible for state money. So there is a big component on the state side of how they use property taxes. And then I would also share an overwhelming amount of property taxes at the local level that we collect is used for public safety, for law enforcement, for fire rescue, for emergency management, and really that is kind of the bread and butter of a lot of our local government budgets. So we wanted to kind of share our own study with you a little bit and give you a few ideas of some facts and figures, and I will turn it over to our administrator to really talk about our collections on the property tax side, and then really in that public safety sector to see how that sizes up with our overall collections and what we spend on public safety. Madam Administrator?
I'll just add a few points. Todd pretty much covered it. Property taxes make up roughly about 22.2% of our overall budget. So our boards have been consistently telling us to hold down on property taxes. They have, over the years, reduced our millage rate as values increased. But I also want you to be well aware that the bulk of our revenue from property taxes go to support law enforcement, as Todd talked about, fire rescue, as well as emergency management. And we know that our issues with emergency management continues to increase because we never know what disaster is lurking, and we have to be prepared for it. So it's an easy thing to say, cut property taxes, but our residents demand us to provide them safety and responses in a timely manner from fire rescue as well as law enforcement. And if we go to user fees for those things, that makes it a lot more difficult because we have to serve all the residents of our counties, not just Palm Beach County, but throughout the state. And so I want you to know our commissioners are adamant about keeping property taxes as low as possible, and your administrator is also fiscally responsible when it comes to property taxes over the years.
And I want to repeat the first thing that Ms. Baker said. Only 22% of our budget is property taxes. Everything else pays for itself. The airport pays for itself. The water utilities department pays for itself. So with only that 22%, we have to give our residents the best fire they can have, the best police they can have, and the best emergency management services they can have. And we're doing that with 22% of our budget. So when you say, well, let's get rid of, not you, I don't think anybody in this room wants to get rid of property taxes because the impact of getting rid of property taxes in Palm Beach County or in any county is, especially your small counties, you get rid of property taxes, they're out of business. Our counties will be bankrupt and out of business. So bring that message back home, please.
Whoever recognizes people, thank you.
I do, and I couldn't see your card, sorry.
Okay. I have grave concerns about this bill, about the property tax cut, and I would just suggest that every league of counties and every league of cities throughout the state get together and start making a concerted effort to, it shouldn't just be Palm Beach County. I understand you all, your position, but we need everyone, all hands on board for this bill to really fight it. So I would recommend that we you be talking significantly to your other colleagues.
I
Thank
can
you.
safely say that this will be one of the #1 priorities for the Florida Association of Counties and for the Florida League of Cities
Thank you.
and the managers.
I would just remind everyone too that this would be if we required higher sales taxes or consumption taxes, it's going to be very regressive in nature. It's going to hit the lowest income of all more proportionally. The more money you have, the more you pay in property taxes, because if you have a larger home, but it's proportional to what you have paid for, and presumably you can afford that. But if we're raising sales tax to pay for all these things, it's just going to hurt the most vulnerable among us. So we need to do everything we can. And if this does pass, I'm not sure if it needs to be on the ballot as an amendment, but it's going to, if it is, it's going to require a lot of education, because if people see it, say, oh, I can lower my property tax to get rid of it, of course they're going to vote for it. So we're going to have to do a lot of education if it does get that far.
Senator Harrell and then Commissioner Powell.
Thank you very much. I think this is an important issue that needs a wide discussion. And the bill as it stands now is a study. So I think we need to realize that we're going to have some facts and figures moving forward. And the counties and cities need to have direct input into that study. So getting those numbers together and showing exactly what you are spending, where you're spending it, and how you're spending it will be key to the study. I think if that happens across the state and people see, especially in our smaller counties, what is being spent, what the dollars are, where they're going, but also the amount of money that you would need to compensate for that. And then you need to look at what your sales tax revenues are within those counties. So, and what it would take to increase those sales tax revenues, and especially in small counties that don't have a tourism industry or mostly agriculture, their land values are exempt principally because of their farmland, but they also, they don't have a whole lot of revenue to start with, and they're called, fiscally distressed counties. We do subsidize them. So when we look at it across the board, you have to look at the source of your revenue and your potential for increasing the dollars in those non-property tax arenas. And then the discussion needs to happen. So I think we need to have input into how the study is developed, and then really take it into consideration, and what would it take to compensate for it. So, we're not there yet. This is discussion. So I don't want everybody to get totally bent out of shape that this is moving forward. This is currently a study.
Thank you. Before I take any more questions or comments, we look like we're going to run over about 15 minutes. Would that be okay with everyone? This is an important discussion. I don't think there's anything more important than what we're talking about right now, so I would hope you could all stay. Thank you.
We've got other things.
We do. We have other things to cover, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you want to comment other than that?
I did.
Okay.
I'll say this. With regard to what Senator Harrell said and also what Senator Polsky said, just keep in mind that Senator Polsky indicated that people who own homes, they pay a proportionate share of their taxes based on the size of the house they own. Also, homeowners get a tax exemption, a homestead exemption. Those of us who own homes, I can guarantee you that even if they took away the homestead exemption, we would still be able to pay our portion of what we owe on our home or what our taxes are. When you start doing studies, we know that studies in the legislature generally lead to something else. I've been in the legislature 12 years, and the way to stop it is to vote no on the study when it comes to you. But you've got a problem, because this is regressive. It is going to impact those people who are lower income, because they'll pay a greater portion of that. Plus, remember this. People, and I know a lot of them, who grew up in Palm Beach County like I did, born and raised here, in my late 30s, early 40s, a lot of those people cannot afford to live in Palm Beach County anymore. They're moving to Georgia. They're moving to Alabama. And what we need to really start thinking about and securing is making sure that we're not pricing people out of paradise. And there's a lot of things that have happened in Tallahassee, that continue to happen in Tallahassee, where we neglect the people who we serve, and we cannot continue to do that. Remember, we represent Palm Beach County, and as a whole, those of us in Palm Beach County, we have to work for Palm Beach County. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of people who grew up here, who were raised here, who are no longer here because they can't afford to stay here. And it becomes surprising to people when they say, well, where did you come from? I came from Riviera Beach right here in Palm Beach County. Oh, you're a native? Well, that's different. Is it really? It shouldn't be. So we really need to think about that. I'll rest my case because I do have another event at 5.
Okay. Representative Gerwig, and then Representative Skidmore.
One of the situations, and I'm going to say something very unpopular. So if you look at your property taxes and then you look at your next door neighbor's property taxes, we have one of the most inequitable schemes, and we did it for a reason, which was save our homes. We did to keep our residents here. We locked in, and it can only go up 3%. So my house, my property taxes, and it's all public records. You can look at yours. You can look at your next door neighbors too. I pay about $9,300 a year in property taxes on my home. My next door neighbor built a house 2 years ago. They're paying $27,000 on that home. So it works. It helped keep mine down, and I can still afford my home, and that was the intention. But we've also created a really inequitable scheme in some ways. So I can understand the question about should we have property taxes or not. Well, it'd be great if we could provide services without collecting money from anyone. But it's going to come from someone, and I kind of think what we have is not great, but I don't think sales tax is the way to go. I agree with the statements that have been made about that. And also, if you live on the north border of Florida, where lots of our legislatures do, you're just going to go to Georgia and buy everything. And what is that going to do for your community? So I agree that Senator Powell and Commissioner Powell and all the things he's right, except, you know, it's still difficult because the money has to come from somewhere. And I agree. It's not. The study is just going to start that process, and it's money that's, I don't know, you don't get it back. You don't get the study money back.
So say no to the study. Representative Skidmore.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I agree. Say no to the study. It's a slippery slope always, but this is not an original idea. For those of us who were in the legislature when Marco Rubio was Speaker, this was his idea to eliminate property tax and increase sales tax. It did not go well for him, and it's not going to go well, hopefully, for the governor. The problem is what Senator Polsky said, that it sounds great. Even some folks here are like, well, I wouldn't mind if my property taxes went down or were eliminated, because it is an expense that we all pay. When you engage in this type of legislation that creates this study that looks at the idea of people paying less taxes, you create the environment where people want to pay less taxes and want to support that. It is a terrible idea. This county knows it. I hope most counties in the state of Florida know it, and I am hopeful that the governor will soon know it very intimately.
Thank you. And I think we're going to not take any more questions because we have a couple more slides.
We will finish off with disaster recovery efforts. So we had 5 storms hit Florida in 2024. So we will look for relief legislation that might include funds for counties to update their emergency operations centers, or any plans that the Department of Emergency Management statewide has to create any regional EOCs or anything that would affect our EOC. And finally, state park use protection. Senator Harrell, we want to thank you for your leap forward on introducing that bill, and congratulate you on at least stop number 1 on that issue. If there's anything else you want to add to that.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank all the people of Palm Beach County, Martin County, St. Lucie County, the whole state of Florida, who really came out and made this a real definite statement about how important our state parks are. And I would invite you all to please go on and be a co-signer on my bill, and Representative Snyder's bill. If we had 120 people in the House and 40 people in the Senate with their names on the bill, we might get it passed. Thank you.
So on the next slide, this is really just a thank you to everyone around the table in our legislative delegation. These are some of our county appropriation requests that we are putting in this year. And to our House members and our senators, your names are next to your individual projects that you've submitted. I can't thank you enough for taking on some of our priorities, making them your priorities. We really appreciate it. And we just want to say we will be there with you fighting for these. Our lobby team will be there as a resource in its totality, both our in-house and our contract lobbyists. That's one of the things that you get when you take on some of our priorities, is the whole team working together to do this. So thank you to each and every one of you. And Casey and the team have been doing an amazing job working with you to get these in to your respective chambers. And we look forward to another successful year on the appropriation side. So thank you very much. And then Casey will end us with our last local bill.
Just to finish us off here today and then open it up for any final comments, thank you to Representative Skidmore for filing the local bill, and the only local bill that Palm Beach County has affecting our beautiful county related to the Building Code Advisory Board to change the definition of local building official as it applies to the Building Code Advisory Board. This just reflects industry trends and allows us to have a larger pool of qualified applicants.
And on that, Madam Mayor, we'll turn it back to you if there's any delegation member remarks or discussion points that they wanted to bring up.
Anybody have anything they'd like to add, subtract, multiply? No? All right, before we adjourn, you all said you had nothing additional you'd like to add. This does conclude our workshop. Thank you for staying a couple minutes longer. We look forward to seeing all of you in Tallahassee on March 4th and 5th for Palm Beach County Day. And we are adjourned. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good team.
Good job. Thank you, Virginia. Great job.
An ever-changing, magical landscape, we invite you to come back again and again. Inspired by Lake Okeechobee, the second largest freshwater lake in the United States, Water Story by artist Kathleen Holmes welcomes residents to the Water Utilities Department Customer Service Center. Quilt-like in their patchwork design, multi-dimensional murals link viewers to the ecological complexity of our local waterways. The mixed media assemblages portray abstracted watery impressions in the foreground, complemented by imagery that interprets local wildlife and recreational activities. When locals interact with staff, the richly painted landscape provides a window to nearby cypress swamps. We invite you to enjoy these serene artworks as you connect with the surrounding natural environment in a new way.